Agenda 03-15 of the Public Utilities Commission of Nevada, present in Carson City.
Rebecca Wagner.
Dave Noble.
And I'm Alina Burton in Las Vegas. Item 1A is time for comments from the general public on topics that pertain to items on this agenda. Are there any members of the public wishing to make a statement in Carson City?
Yes, Chairman, I have 4 cards. Do you want to go ahead and read your disclaimer or spiel or instructions, whatever?
Sure. The Commission welcomes comment from all persons. However, please recognize the Commission receives evidence through a formal process. Hearings or investigations for all matters that will be discussed at this agenda have already been conducted, and draft orders or memoranda have been prepared on the basis of the record created at the hearing or on the final results of staff's investigations. Commission appreciates any feedback from the public, but comments made today cannot be treated as formal evidence. Members of the public desire to comment, please state your name on the record. Comments shall only address topics that are relevant to or within the authority of the Commission. Speakers shall not repeat prior comments made during this agenda. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. If the speaker's allowed 3 minutes, cannot be transferred to another speaker. The allowed 3 minutes has ended, the individual must stop speaking. Okay.
Thank
I
you.
should have brought some water today.
First card I have is Rhett Jesse, and he's doing public comment on 3B and C. Mr. Jesse, go ahead and take a seat. I think it's marked in yellow, and then just state your name, and you'll have 3 minutes for your comments.
Commissioners, good afternoon. My name is Everett Jesse. I am one of the owners of Nevada Controls LLC, an engineering contracting firm licensed in the state of Nevada. To my knowledge, we are the only contractor to build 6 completed hydroelectric plants within the NV Energy Hydro Generations program. 3 plants were net metered and 3 plants were non-net metered. Nevada Controls LLC is presently engaged and is the contractor for the Pershing County Water Conservation District and the Truckee-Carson Irrigation District hydroelectric plants in the Hydro Generations program. The respective dockets are 14-12-027 and 14-12-028. In 2009, the Commission created the non-net metered category in the Water Power Energy Systems Demonstration Program through docket 09-07014. This was an extension of the net metered category within the NV Energy Hydro Generations Annual Plan. The non-net metered category was created due to the Commission's recognition that the preferred location of where water power electrical generation could occur does not coincide with where the power is being used. The non-net meter program allowed agricultural users, which now included irrigation districts, to take advantage of the Water Power Incentive Program and get paid for their power production through the short-term voided cost tariff rate. Even though we made our best effort, we were not successful in completing the hydroelectric plants prior to the 24th December 2014 incentive cutoff date. Without the incentive funds, the projects cannot be paid for, which will cause significant financial harm to both the water districts and Nevada Controls. The Commission has the power to extend the 12-month time limit for the installation of the water power energy systems through NAC 701B.010 if good cause is demonstrated based on regulatory delay or unanticipated circumstances. Due to significant regulatory uncertainty at both the federal and state level, unanticipated circumstances due to the drought and equipment deliveries, and an electrical interconnect process that was not encountered on the previous 6 hydroelectric power plants, a 3-month extension is necessary for the water districts and Nevada Controls to be successful. In these cases, the public interest will be served through an extension. Without the hydro generations incentive, the water districts don't have a way to pay for the hydroelectric plants. An extension would be very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jesse. Next speaker I have is Mike Gottschalk, and he is commenting on item 3B, the same one that Mr. Jesse was referring to.
My name is Mike Gottschalk. I'm the president of the board of the Pershing County Water Conservation District and represent the farmers in the Lovelock Valley. We have petitioned the commission through docket 14-12-027 for a declaratory order to allow NV Energy to provide us a 3-month extension on our hydro generation incentives, HCN 00020, from December 24th, 2014 to March 24th, 2015. Through the motivation provided by the non-net metered NV Energy Hydro Generations Program in 2012, we started planning for a hydroelectric plant at Rye-Patch Dam. Through the incentive payment and getting paid for our power production through the short-term avoided cost tariff rate, we believe we have a project that will benefit the farmers in our district directly and also the state of Nevada. We believe this hydroelectric project is in the public interest. We received a hydro generation incentive reservation that expired on December 24th, 2014. And the Pershing County Water Conservation District and Nevada Controls LLC have done everything possible to complete the project prior to excuse me, to NV Energy Hydro Generation's incentive deadline. Due to regulatory delays caused by multiple federal regulatory bodies and unanticipated circumstances regarding equipment delivery that included a dock strike and inclement weather at the worst possible time, including working through a 2400 volt power line upgrade issues, and incentive extension is needed. The district has proceeded and completed the majority of the work in good faith of the resolution. Without the incentive project, it can't be paid for. The commission has the power to extend the 12-month time limit for the installation of water power energy systems through NCA 701B.010 if good cause is demonstrated based on regulatory delay or unanticipated circumstances. The Commission's board authority allows for a transition period before starting the performance-based incentive program. The petition filed by the district requests that transmission period be extended by 3 months. In light of these facts, the district asked the Commission for the NV Energy Hydro Generation incentive extension to March 24th, 2015 on our reservation HGN 00020.
Okay, thank you, sir. The next speaker I have is Benny Hodges, and also for item 3B.
Good afternoon, Commission. My name is Benny Hodges, and I'm the Secretary Manager of the Pershing County Water Conservation District in Lovelock, Nevada. And I'm here to talk about item 3B also, and I would encourage the Commission to consider giving us an extension of time on this. And I'm looking at a letter from the Office of General Counsel, and we're talking about General Counsel seems to have done the assumption that us not receiving this incentive will not be a hardship for us. It says significantly, PCWCD does not represent that the work on Rye-Patch Dam will not be completed if the incentive is not received. That is not a true statement. If we can get this incentive, we will not be able to complete this work. Let me just give you a little background here. First off, we're in 2 years of drought. Last year, the last irrigation season, we had a 0% delivery in the Lovelock Valley. We did not open a gate at Rye-Patch. No water came into the system. The year before that was a 10% allotment. 10% delivered 2 years ago. Now keep in mind, in the Lovelock Valley, we do not have supplemental wells or supplemental irrigation. So basically in 2 years, we've had 10% of a delivery of water. We are in dire straits. Now farmers, another thing I point out is the farmers and the constituents of the Lovelock, of the Pershing County Water District, they pay for all of the operation of the district. We have no public funding, no federal funding to place that as far as the day-to-day operations. Like I said, PUC staff questions how much we've spent. In other words, they're wondering how much we have spent and can we or can we not afford to not get the incentive, like to point some numbers out. We we don't receive incentives, if we do not receive an incentive, we will not be able to pay an outstanding bill of $505,000 that's outstanding now. Not to mention the $852,808 that we already spent, and $177,000 we are waiting on a 37% reimbursement from the federal government for. Keep in mind that these delays were caused trying to work with the Bureau of Reclamation. We had original designs that were reclamation, technical service committees in Denver for reclamation said would work. And then later on in the game, they changed their mind. We'd have to wait for higher ups to sign the approval of those. That took much time. And then also waiting for various permits for environmental and permission to start construction. And like that just mentioned, weather and other issues. Again, those have all played a factor in this. We've been in existence since 1926 as the PCWCD, and even before that, since 1911, as the Humboldt Level Irrigation Light and Power Company. In all those years, we've never failed to not honor our fulfillment on a contract. We are 95% completed now. We just need a little bit of help. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hodges. Next card I have is Rusty Jardine speaking on item 3C.
Commissioners, good afternoon. My name is Rusty Jardine, and I'm the district manager and general counsel for the Truckee-Carson Irrigation District. We represent a multitude of water users in and about the Fernley and Fallon area. We are the contractor to the United States Bureau of Reclamation for the operation of the Newlands Federal Reclamation Project. And we've been doing that since the same year that Benny indicated, since 1926. We came into existence in 1918. We've been doing that all this time. As you know, we've petitioned the Commission through docket 14-12028 for a declaratory order to allow NV Energy to provide us a 3-month extension on our hydro generations incentives HGN 00018 and HGN 0019. That would be from December 24th,
Hey,
2014
it's almost 10 after.
to March 24th of
I
2015.
still haven't commented.
We certainly
because
believe
people up
that
north
our project is in the
commented.
public interest.
So they're running
Indeed, that's
late,
really what
most
we're about.
likely.
Through the
the
incentive
person
payment
that
and getting
commented
paid
enough
for our
won't be
power
over
production through the
until
short-term
quarter
avoided
after
cost tariff
12.
rate.
So you
We
may
believe
have
that
some
we will have a
time.
project
Bye.
that will benefit water users in the district, including the United States Fish and Wildlife Service, the state of Nevada, the city of Fernley, Churchill County, Lyon County, the city of Fallon, if I didn't mention that, and also, of course, the state of Nevada. You know, we started this project in January of 2013, actually a little bit before that even though we had some level of agreement associated with the environmental review process. Naturally, being part of a federal project, we had to obtain those kinds of approvals. So we started that process, and we understood, because it would involve monies not only from the Department of Energy, but also overview on the part of the Bureau of Reclamation. We thought that that environmental review process would parallel. Well, they didn't. They were serial. And so one had to be approved before the other one could be entered into. It just isn't simply how it is done at the federal level in connection with that process. And that led to a tremendous amount of regulatory uncertainty in connection with our project. So instead of starting, back in June, we were forced to delay until September, which is when we finally obtained monies with which to proceed with the project. And that was the source of a lot of delay for us. Now, due to the drought, and Mr. Hodges has already pointed that out, last year for us was a 45% year. The Secretary of the Department of Agriculture has already issued for this year another declaration of drought, disaster associated with that. One of the unanticipated circumstances was keeping the fish alive in the Lahontan Reservoir and attempting to forego any kind of botulism associated with providing waters under such circumstances that would have led to an outbreak on those lands associated with the Stillwater Refuge. That was important to us, and so we literally had to break our season into 2 parts and deliver to one half of our users up front and other users at a later time. And then through that process,
Mr. Jardine, your time is up.
okay, I'm sorry.
But if you have written comments, you're welcome to submit them, but, because I see you have, looks like written comments, you're welcome to submit them, or.
I would be happy to,
Okay.
and thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Next commenter I have is Mr. Volz, and it's for item 3A, which is not an item we're taking action on. So I'm not sure, Ms. Tanner, I don't have a problem entertaining public comment, but we're not taking a vote or doing anything on it, so how does that work?
That's a good question,
I was just reading
and there's no materials on it to comment on. Let me, if I can take a moment.
sure, it's just, and I was looking under at the beginning, it says, any items which action may be taken. So we're not taking any action, but
It
the
would
comment period afterwards.
Yeah, it would probably be more appropriate for the comment period afterwards, Mr. Volt.
Mr. Volz?
Well, I do have a problem with that, Commissioner, because it is on the agenda, and regardless of whether there's any action being
But
taken.
it's not really for discussion. The issue is that it's a discussion item only, no action's being taken,
Yes.
and
But
that's what subject A is about. So
It's
we're not gonna
on-
have an argument
It's
about
on
it.
the agenda.
So,
It is on
Mr.
the
Volz,
agenda.
Mr. Volz,
You may talk about it afterwards.
let's save it for the end.
I
and
have
then-
something else to say at the end, but that's fine. I
No, you,
respect that.
and you can do that, and then we'll sort this out. We haven't had this issue come up before,
Mhm.
and we'll look into it, but for purposes of keeping this
It's
moving
fine.
along. All right, thank you, I appreciate that. That's all for now in Carson City Chairman.
I have one card, Mr. Fazio.
I'm going to encounter the same thing as Mr. Volt, so
Okay, so
I'll
we'll
wait
get to the
until
end.
the second.
Okay, thank you very much, appreciate that. All righty, we'll move to item 2A, Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you, Chairman. Item 2A is docket number 12-02013. This is an investigation and rulemaking to adopt, amend, and/or repeal regulations pertaining to the Commission's process and procedure. This was a result of an investigation that we did a long time ago. And essentially what you have before you is a cleanup of a variety of sections of 703 relating to our process and procedure, from noticing to corrected websites to and other references. I think the order spells out on page 4, provides a really good summary of what the intent is, because reading through the regulation even was slightly mystifying to me, or the proposed changes. So I'm happy to answer any questions. If we get in too deep, we'll ask Mr. Borisoff to join us, since he has been working on this for quite a while. So any questions or comments, I'm happy to take.
Commissioner,
I have none.
the only one I have, and I thought maybe we could talk it out, we could maybe work through it, is on section 11 of page 10. And it's actually it's the very first one.
Okay.
It says a motion by a party to dismiss an application. So it contemplates the party would be filing a motion, but then they basically have 15 days after the date set by the commission for persons to file petitions for leave to intervene. So I think there might be some level of disconnect, because until the order granting the intervention, they're not actually a party. So I'm wondering if we don't have a disconnect there, because only parties can file motions to dismiss, but we're giving them 15 days after the time for persons to file petitions for leave to intervene. So in other words, I guess the question I have is do all commissioners come in to be on notice that they need to make people's parties as quickly as possible, so they don't miss this 15-day deadline?
I see what your point is, and I don't know what the practice of other, I usually set my pre-hearing conference and establish the parties like the day after interventions are due. That's just been my common practice, so we would know who the parties were. I don't know, do you have a suggestion to change the language, like a motion by a proposed party? And we have to get into definitions, so I don't know if it's maybe how we address our practice, or,
Well,
I don't know.
the easiest way might be, but I mean, this has been, I wouldn't want to change this, so we have to ship it back to LCB, right now. So it's, I mean, we could change it to 60 days after the date, but, or, I kind of raise it because I think we just want to be aware of it, so that commissioners can understand that we need to make sure that we identify who the parties are fairly quickly in the action, so that if there is a motion dismissed, they haven't been precluded from it. Of course, it can always be waived as well, if there's good cause for it. But I just throw that out there. I might be a mountain out of a molehill, but like, I wanted to kind of raise awareness of it.
Yeah, I kind of prefer to keep it the way it is, and I think we can adjust our practice around that, because once you have the initial notice, I can't remember how many days interveners have to petition, or, and then it's 15 days after that. If you get too far down the road, I'm not sure that extending the timeline is beneficial or not. I think maybe we just internally be aware that we need to establish the parties as soon as possible. And maybe parties shouldn't wait until the last day to file their interventions too.
I think that's a good point.
I'm just thinking right now, maybe a motion by a party or a person who has filed a petition for leave to intervene. And that way, you've got the party and anybody who's filed a PLTI within that 15 days of the PLTI date. Obviously, if they weren't granted party status, that would be moot, but that would cover parties which are going to be staff and BCP. Those are the only two that would conceivably be parties before the PLTI date, because at least common practice at the commission is to wait to grant any and all interventions until after that PLTI date we've had a pre-hearing conference. So that would be my only suggestion.
I think that that's a reasonable solution, and I don't think that that's in my opinion, it's not a substantive change that would require us to go back through the whole process. I think it's just clarification to address your concerns, Chairman.
Sounds good.
But I'll defer to council. Ms. Tanner, does that?
I don't think that's something to,
Okay.
I agree.
Okay, so would you mind just
So
stating your language again, please?
A motion by a party and then insert or a person that files a petition for leave to intervene, and then continue on with the other language
Okay.
as it exists.
Okay. Yep, I think that works. Did you have anything else, Chairman?
That was it.
Great. Then I move we adopt the temporary regulation as modified today and issue the associated order.
Second.
Concur.
Item 2B is also brought to us by Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you, Chairman. Item 2B is docket number 13-06023. This is the rulemaking to address an ERCR and other matters related to SB 123. I feel like I've been back with this docket so many times that I don't need to read the entire caption. What you have before you today is a specific issue that was raised by ORMAT, requesting clarity about what constitutes a new renewable energy facility. ORMAT has power purchase agreements with geothermal projects located in Sierra's service territory, expiring in the 2018 timeframe. We need to make a determination if would these qualify as new, based on the legal analysis, policy analysis, and in my opinion, a practical look at this. The answer is no, I don't believe, and the order supports that these are existing facilities are not new facilities, existing facilities with existing contracts. So I'm happy to answer any questions or clarify anything.
Any questions or comments?
I have none.
I have none either. Do you have a motion?
I sure do. I move that we approve and issue the interim order.
Second.
Concur.
Item 2C, Commissioner Noble.
Item 2C is docket number 14-10007. That's the application of Nevada Bell Telephone Company doing business as AT&T Nevada and AT&T Wholesale for relief from designation as a provider of last resort in portions of northern Nevada pursuant to NRS 704.68886. The parties have signed a stipulation which is attached to the proposed order. I would recommend that the stipulation be accepted, and we'll be happy to try and answer any questions or comments you might have.
I have none.
I don't either.
I move that we accept the stipulation, grant the application as filed, and issue the appropriate order.
Second.
Concur?
Item 3A, Ms. Tanner.
Thank you, Chairman. Commissioners, I'll be very brief. This is our standing item legislative update, just for discussion. This morning, Hearing Officer Lamojo presented on SB 86 and 87 before the Senate Committee on Commerce, Labor, and Energy. The amendments that we had discussed at the last administrative agenda to SB 86 were presented. In addition on that bill, the Nevada Association of General Contractors presented an amendment to retain provisions relating to negligence with the reduced fine threshold that were in the existing law. The instruction from the committee was to have further discussions with those persons present that had questions, and I believe this will likely be set for a work session. SB 87 was received and supported by individuals there. There was support from Nevada Energy, and but with a question about timing mechanics that are in the existing version of the bill, which we will work with them on. And again, that will likely be scheduled for a work session to complete. And this afternoon, AB 74 and AB 75 will be presented before the Assembly Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Any questions?
No, thank you.
I have none.
I have none either. Thank you, Ms. Tanner. Alrighty, item 3B, Ms. Williamson. Actually, I think we could probably go to the consent portion of it, unless, items 3B, 3C, and 3D are brought to us by General Counsel and can be voted on without any further discussion, unless any commissioner wants to pull an item out for further consideration.
I don't want to pull them out, but I am glad that we're support General Counsel's recommendation about setting 3B and 3C for further consideration so we can get more information on those. But I don't need to pull them out specifically.
I have none to pull out.
Okay. I would move the commission accept the recommendations contained in General Counsel's briefing memos regarding items 3B, 3C, and 3D, and issue the appropriate orders.
Second?
Concur.
Items 4A and 5A are brought to us by Regulatory Operations staff, can be voted on without further comment, unless any commissioner wants to pull one out for further consideration.
No, thank you.
I have none.
I would move the commission accept the recommendations contained in staff's briefing memos regarding items 4A and 5A, and issue the appropriate orders.
Second?
Concur.
Item 6A is time for comments from the general public on any topic that is jurisdictional to the commission. Are there any members of the public in Carson City?
Yes, Mr. Bolton, I would recommend that we give you a couple extra minutes, and then in the future, we'll sort out where we're bound or not bound by the open meeting law to address. We weren't taking action, so it didn't make sense to vote, have comment on it. So we'll sort that out, but go ahead and,
Okay.
If it's,
For the record, Fred Volz.
we'll do 5 minutes, is that?
Okay. I don't need that, actually,
Okay.
Commissioner, thank you. I'll just save the comments for another time.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Again, for the record, Fred Volz. Last week's NVE prepay workshop with no public participation opportunities demonstrated once again the inability of the utility, and especially the regulatory operations function of the commission, to arrive at prudent solutions that genuinely balance business and ratepayer interests. The complexity of the proposed prepaid program should have generated multiple warning signs for the regulatory operations staff. Instead, they recommended a pilot program proceed when serious structural problems exist. These problems will cause general ratepayers to subsidize prepay and raise utility costs for vulnerable customers because of excessive transaction costs. Regulatory Operations was unconcerned when it was revealed NVE had never asked its customers during the program design phase whether they wanted and were willing to pay extra for this program. Don't businesses ask customers what they want before producing a service with little demand? If someone lacks the funds to pay the electric bill, isn't it a distinct probability cell phone, landline phone, and internet services would have been terminated before electricity, making notification under NVE's construct impossible? Isn't it easier to come up with an equitable deposit program and split the payments into monthly installments rather than proceed down the expensive prepaid path? Because of the questionable and unproven safety of the AMI meters, repeatedly turning those meters on and off could cause even more fires and hazards than have already been documented in Nevada and beyond. Don't we need definitive, rigorous scientific evidence from an independent testing body not affiliated with any organization that receives funding from electric equipment manufacturers? The Nevada State Fire Marshal didn't perform his own independent investigation of meter fires, but simply reviewed written reports compiled by someone else, hardly reassuring or prudent. No, prepay isn't about, quote, giving customers choices, unquote. It is about making it easier for the utility to cut off electric service and providing the company with advanced cash flow. It would be refreshing for regulatory operations to be asking comprehensive questions which challenge the fundamentals of any proposal, rather than tacitly accepting what an applicant tells it before endorsing pilot programs that have questionable validity. Commissioners, regulatory operation needs a major change of focus if it is to actually serve the public interest or accurately inform the commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Volz. Anybody else for public comment in Carson City? Okay, we're good up here, Chairman.
Okay, and I have one card, Mr. Fazio.
Are you gonna gag me?
Not today.
You sure?
Sure. I'm not sure why that's there.
It was attempted humor.
Okay.
Angel DeFazio. On last Wednesday during the Flux Pay proposal, the fiction spoken by NVE is worthy of Hans Christian Andersen. They are offering a prepay system and using the endorsement that it will help to build credit. How is paying in advance going to promote credit? What are they going to base it on? If they were disconnected and how long to reconnect? If they behave after a period of time, they won't require a deposit. Credit is established post-usage and paying according to said terms on the bill. Now, we have the direct and proximate result of an action that one of three who were introducing themselves up in Carson City last week, who I am under the impression is in cahoots with the commissioner to micromanage something that is not part of their regulatory governance. When egomaniacal people try to tout their power, they are myopic in their ability to see if it will impact others. Said impact is now directing others by their overzealousness to make a point. When you step on toes with faux Lobatinis, watch out. The attempted object may use Kevlar cleated Martins in response. Newton's law of motion. I think you can figure out this very simple and descriptive analogy. Then we have people not doing their job and they should be rewarded, to wit. January 23rd admin agenda. There still isn't any administrative minutes filed. 2 weeks later. Fortunately, there is a video. I want entered as an exhibit, a current printout showing nothing. Yet there was an administrative minutes filed for the utility agenda same day. Not to negate the fact, on April 30th, I proved falsification of agenda notice postings down in Vegas. Yes, concerted job performances, professional attitudes such as these should be rewarded. Okay, right after I become the spokesperson for smart meters. Have a safe President's Day weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Fazio. Anyone else in Las Vegas? We're adjourned.